Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite, and oh my goodness, guys, CDL Los Angeles, once again, guys, was a wild event. Did not go as anyone really would have expected. Some legitimately really shocking matches overall throughout the weekend, and of course, we learned so much about the new rosters. Empire, oh my, really came out to play. They flew out on that private jet to the event and made it worth it. And Atlanta FaZe, man, they came up short. So we've got a lot to talk about today, of course. And of course, the Best of 3 COD Esports podcast will be out this week. It's going to be out on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. Some major improvements this week as well. And I am very excited for that. We'll be going in depth on all things CDL, so be on the lookout for that. But with that said, let's get right into the video. Let's go. So this was like a dog-eat-dog weekend, man. This was a battle to the death between a lot of teams. They were beating each other up, beating each other all over the place. Like, it was like a circle of death with teams beating each other. So that's why it was such an interesting event. And I mean, there were some big surprises. Optic Gaming was a big one off the rip. The common thought was that they were going to make a roster change this week if the event didn't go to plan. And they showed up and finally looked like a coherent team this week. Their weekend basically started off worst case scenario. They were down 0-2 to Los Angeles Guerrillas on Saturday. Like, this looked like a horrible situation. They were playing terrible Call of Duty, and then their whole weekend turned around. They reverse swept Los Angeles Guerrillas, and of course the Guerrillas had their new roster out with Spart, Vivid, and Blast filling in. And you know, of course the weekend didn't go how Guerrillas would have liked for it to, but after that reverse sweep against the Guerrillas, Optic shocked the world against the Rokkr with a hot 3-0 against the Rokkr, which was pretty crazy. I mean, the Rokkr were looking fantastic going into this event, and then they were knocked down to the losers bracket by Optic Gaming. The role change from Optic, Dashy switched to MP5 for this event. Slasher was now their main AR, and it felt like the whole team kind of clicked into place with that change. Tej looked so much more comfortable with Dashy following him into the hills. They seem to have way more command of the map with Slasher overlooking everything and captaining those lines aside with the main AR, and they played a fantastic series. The hardpoint, the search, the dom, they all went their way against the Rokkr. For the rest of this event, the Rokkr had looked fantastic, but this was just straight up a lapse in play from the Rokkr and fantastic Call of Duty from Optic Gaming, and it all came together for a hot 3-0. But then, of course, Optic's weekend fell short against the Empire, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So like I said, this was truly a dog-eat-dog event. So let's just go through this list here, okay? So FaZe 3-0'd Dallas Empire. Dallas Empire 3-1'd Optic, and Optic had 3-0'd the Rokkr. The Rokkr 3-2'd FaZe, and then Empire 3-2 Rokkr in the finals to take home the tournament. So it's crazy to figure out what we have to take away from this event, considering all of these different links and teams beating teams and losing to other teams. So there's a lot that went down. Similarly, like Optic had to reverse sweep the Los Angeles Guerrillas, but then the Guerrillas got mopped by Seattle 3-0. Like, it was the first 100-point club of the year. Seattle beat them 250-79 on Aussie or Cave. Octane was just going off. But then, of course, then Seattle got just destroyed by Dallas. So, like, there's just so many times in this event where you're like, all right, well, if this team beat this team, then this team should beat this team, and then it didn't go that way at all. I mean, when it comes to FaZe, they looked incredible against Dallas. They 3-0'd Dallas in their second match of the tournament. They looked incredible, and at that point, basically, everybody chalked it up. Everybody was like, all right, FaZe is winning this event, right? But then they faced off against the Rokkr in the semifinals, and the Rokkr are truly FaZe's kryptonite. I mean, GodRx is actually nasty. GodRx was going off all series against FaZe. They were down 2-1 after the dom, and then came back and won 3-2 in the game 5. And the Ramasa hardpoint was probably one of the craziest hardpoints we've ever seen. This was to send it to a game 5. So of course, let's roll the clip.
To come, we have a tied game basically as we rotate to what could very well be the final hill of the game.
And this is another hill the Rokkr were on point on last time around. Cellium right now, look at the map. He is completely by himself. Alex is getting cut off kills over by gun. Cellium at some point just has to make the move himself.
This is the 1v1. He could be the hero here for Atlanta FaZe. He shuts him down. He has no spawn control and realistically no support from his teammates. But Cellium gonna try and do it all. There's 2, dips and darts away. Goes for the repeat. There's number 3. Cellium number 4. What an incredible play from him. Somehow still alive. Atlanta FaZe with hill control. The cavalry is there. And Cellium, he's not done yet. Pushing through the smoke. The young rookie trying to make a play. Is it enough though? Is it going to be enough? Minnesota Minnesota Rokkr still in the hill. 237, 235. It's ABeZy's turn to pop off.
Either team can win it here. 10 for FaZe, 14 for Minnesota, but now it's just FaZe that can get it, and they're in the hill, Ben.
But in comes the contest, ABeZy with one. I don't think you're going to be able to win. It's a rotation fight. It's going to be a rotation fight, and it's going to be Minnesota Rokkr that are there first. Atlanta FaZe, you have 15 seconds to try and break through. cellium up top. He's going to throw one carpet. Is he going to win the fight? I don't think he's going to be able to do so. 8 seconds. You're going to go. You're going to go if you're Atlanta. cellium shut down. Minnesota Rokkr. Tied game. GunRX push it out. They take it, or do they? Or do they? They do. They do. Minnesota Rokkr, for the second time in a row, take Atlanta FaZe to a game 5.
The fact that cellium ripped off that chain of kills and FaZe still couldn't clutch it up, rough. Really, really rough. And basically any other Call of Duty, if there were score streaks, FaZe win that game. But because kill streaks are GA'd, FaZe isn't able to rotate and they lose the map. Absolutely insane. I was doing a little watch party and I was flipping out during the stream. It was awesome. And that sent the Rokkr to play Empire in the grand finals. So when it comes to Empire, man, their weekend was pretty crazy as well, of course. They started off with a pretty solid series against the New York subliners. I mean, the subliners took the first hardpoint off of them, which was really, really surprising considering they were playing with Happy, their new sub, which, I mean, basically everybody going into this tournament thought it was going to be like a 1 week thing. I mean, they're going to make a roster change in the next few weeks considering we have a few weeks off now before the next tournament. Dallas then rebounded, beat them 3-1, and then ended up getting 3-0'd by FaZe. They played really, really bad in this series, getting absolutely smoked by FaZe, and that series knocked them down to then 0-5 versus the Huntsman and FaZe. So 0-3 versus the Huntsman, 0-2 versus FaZe. They haven't won a map versus FaZe yet, and they're 2-9 versus the Huntsman, but they've been fantastic versus every other team in the league, and of course that showed in this tournament. So they beat the Mutineers 3-0, which was actually a really close series in all 3 of the maps. The Mutineers were playing with a substitute actually, which was big news heading right into the tournament. Priestahh announced that he wasn't gonna be able to be at the tournament because of personal issues. Supposedly there was some mental health issues that rose for Priestahh, so I hope he gets better, hope he's feeling good and is able to get back in the lineup soon. But Pharaoh actually replaced him, and overall Pharaoh had a pretty good event. They beat New York 3-1. Of course, you know, New York's been struggling, but they beat New York 3-1 after getting 3-0'd by FaZe in their first match, and then they went on to play Dallas, and that's where they got 3-0'd. There's a good chance there's a roster change that happens with them in the next few weeks as well with the bye weeks. I would not be surprised if either Havoc or Frosty are replaced by Pharaoh and Priestahh joins back into the starting lineup, because that would be interesting at least, and would probably make a lot of sense with how Pharaoh played this week. So be on the lookout for that, because that's definitely a possible change. But Dallas, again, man, Shotzzy found his groove after that FaZe match. All of the players overall throughout the whole weekend really showed off at certain points. Huke had his moments, ILLeY had his moments, Shotzzy had his moments, Crim, Clay, they both had their moments. It just really was a collective team effort, which was really, really cool to watch. They beat the Mutineers 3-0, and that sent them in to play LA Optic in the semifinals, which was an awesome matchup considering Crim's history with Dashy, with Tej, with JKap, and there was a crazy domination moment in this series. So Empire were down by a lot on Hackney Dom. They brought it back, and at the end, it was real close. Let's just roll it because it was an awesome moment.
On the neutral is Optic trying to rally over towards A. Kenny finishes 2. Kenny pushes out to the 3rd, but ILLeY shuts it down.
You got the 2 in the neutral right now. All the flags are open. All the flags are open for Dallas. They're about to get a 3-cap. 1 minute remaining. Here we go. And they're winning gunfights. ILLeY is able to win a one-on-one against TJ. The help is there as well.
They do take out Clay, who I think was the lone guy over towards C. He was the one that was going to get him off the cap.
Optics need a neutral, though. They need a neutral.
The lead erased as Empire make the clutch. Now all the pressure that was on Empire, it all falls to Optic to try and make the play. They've got 4 or 5 here towards B. It's ILLeY gonna be waiting low. If the collapse comes in for Optic, they have to go. The first gonna get cut down. ILLeY trying to hold from the bottom. Optic, can they find any kind of opening? What a win from TJ it is, but they've got to get on the point. Is it going to be enough? Someone's got to get in there with them. He takes another, he loses it. He loses it. Clay just smokes him, and there's the lead change. Unbelievable. Empire do it in the final moments and pull the map away from Optic. Are you kidding?
So yeah, man, that was really, really tight. And then it took him into a hard point where the Empire won it. And then Crim had some words for JKap at the end of the match. Basically, this goes back to some Twitter beef that they've had in the past earlier on in the year. Crim blocked JKap on Twitter, and apparently he's not going to be unblocked anytime soon. Let's roll the clip.
But JKap, I'm coming for you.
All right, JKap, you better be ready. We're jumping to it.
Cap, I'm never gonna unblock you on Twitter, ever.
We're going to a quick break. I'm gonna drop this right here for Crim. We'll be back after this.
So Crim was just dropping it. He was feeling it after that match. Empire definitely had that confidence. And Clay had some good media moments as well on the analyst. That's the interview with him. And guys, there was a moment in this. I mean, I have to show this because it was just comedy. All right. There was a moment where some unfortunate genitalia were drawn on the screen. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a caster that was messing around and they didn't realize that it was live, or if a fan somehow got to the caster booth, because now they have a feature at the caster booth where you can like draw things on screen, and somehow someone got their hands on it and did this.
How are they going to feat against the likes of FaZe?
Optic versus FaZe.
It's gonna be a crazy match.
That'd
like,
be.
I just want to
really good one.
I want to talk about the Optic and Dallas match. I just feel like that match is gonna be so insane. Like
Before we do, I
Well,
want
the
to say,
Minnesota
though,
FaZe is a
What did I just see on the screen?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Guys, what just happened?
so match. Like I just want to.
So he was only up there for like a few seconds at most, but what in the world? How does that happen? I was dying on stream when it happened. It was so funny. Like I lost it. But I don't know if there's gonna be any mention of that ever again, but it was absolutely hilarious and a marquee moment in COD esports history. So that takes us into our grand final, Empire versus Rokkr, and it definitely lived up to the expectation. It was a crazy, crazy series. So the Empire went up 2-0 and they were looking really, really good. It felt like this could have been a 3-0, but the Rokkr played a really, really good domination. And then we went into a crazy, crazy hard point on Hackney that literally came down to the wire. Again, why talk about it when I can just show you? It was nuts.
Huke and ILLeY and Shotzzy, oh no, shutting it down. That's
dead.
all 5 dead.
All dead.
Oh, the spawns.
They're not done yet, though. One final push for one final contest. The tournament is decided here.
They got a kill.
And ILLeY's there up top. They got him out of the hard point.
Got him
they
out.
might still be able to
They're
get
there.
in.
They're
They
there.
gotta fly. Go, go, go. Get in. They're able to get in. Everybody is into the point. 247. 247. It's madness inside. Rokkr.
They got it.
do it. They do it. They do it. It's Rokkr with the win. It's map 5, baby.
What just happened?
So yeah, man, that was crazy. The Rokkr basically, that nade absolutely saved them. Since they got those kills and pushed out through yellow, they secured those crazy, ridiculous yellow spawns that happen all the time, where you basically spawn right in the corner there, right next to the hard point. They're able to flood in, make the comeback and win. The momentum wasn't enough to sway it in the search and destroy as the Empire came out and won the tournament in game 5, 6-2 actually, and looked really, really good. So it was really hard to say who the MVP of the tournament was. I mean, if the Rokkr won, undoubtedly it would have been GodRx. He played an insane event. He looked like a top 5 player in the game and really, really, really showed his talent, his upside. He was sniping all over the place, getting first bloods, looking fantastic all throughout the tournament, and in hardpoint was slaying out as well. So GodRx, man, wow, he is good at this game. It really does feel like when Silly gets going for the Rokkr, they just are a different team. It feels like they open up the map and allows for GodRx to slay out, because it feels like basically whenever Silly goes off, GodRx even goes more off. And that was something that we talked about in the podcast last week about Silly's inefficient gunfights, and so I think he cleaned that up a lot in this event, and the Rokkr looked really, really good, especially against FaZe. So for the Empire again, man, I mean, Shotzzy finally found his groove, and ILLeY really looked good in a lot of moments as well. That's incredibly promising if you're an Empire fan. Of course, the question is whether or not they're ever going to beat FaZe or the Huntsmen. I mean, 0-5 in those series. is the real key, but you do have to feel good. Crim now overtook Karma as the winningest console esport player of all time. 35 championships for him now, ridiculous. And another E United player from Black Ops 4 who wins a championship. So now RCD's Simp, ABeZy, and Clay have all won championships this year. So now Priestahh's got to find his with the Mutineers. But like I said earlier, hard to pick an MVP for Dallas. I think I would give it to Crim. But the one map that really hurt Crim's MVP hopes was the 4th hardpoint against the Rokkr. He went like 14 and 31, got absolutely smoked, and that was the game that they lost 250 to 247. So besides that, Crim played a fantastic event. I think I would barely give it to Crim over probably either Clay or Shotzzy, who were both had their big moments throughout the weekend. But overall, I don't think they could have done it without how well Crim played throughout most of the weekend. So that'd be my guy. But overall, guys, I mean, I could talk for hours about the rest of these roster changes that could potentially be coming and everything else. So we'll be going over all of that in the Best of 3 COD Esports podcast. So be on the lookout for that. And there's some big time improvements that I've made with the setup and how that's all going to be run. So I'm really excited about this week's episode. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be coming out on Wednesday. Another video will be out tomorrow, of course. Tuesday as always. I appreciate the support. And if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, favorite, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.